Calmsden Farm is the map that I have the utmost hours in. I've got about 400 hours on this map and I've never got round to making a review. So today is your lucky day where we go around and I explain just why I have fallen so madly, deeply, truly in love with Calmsden Farm. First things first is the map overview. Now again, I've got about 400 hours in this farm, so there are some areas and production lines and stuff that I have actually added in that weren't there before. Generally all the things in the pig field over here. Don't ask why they're in the pig field. They're in the pig field. You have a really good mix of large and small fields, lots of baling that you can do, and then on the big fields you can pretty much do whatever you want. There are often potato contracts and stuff, so if you're looking for something to really dig your teeth into and take you a long while, this is going to be great for it. You have a number of production points that you will receive when you buy the fields. Namely, you can get chickens, your sheep, pigs, horses if you so desire, and cows over here. You also have the ability to buy different plots of land which give you silos, and they give you access to production points like your biogas plant and your sawmill. For those of you that have not played Calmsden before, when you first starting the map, one of my big pieces of advice is to buy this plot of land here. It goes all the way around the outside, includes the sawmill, it does go through the shop as well, and includes the biogas plant down here. The best thing about this is that it costs you £0. It's nothing, it's completely free. The biogas plant and the sawmill are going to provide you with a good source of income, as well as something to do during those winter months forever. Like, it will just be a constant money income, which is really nice. You do have different sized plots of field, and they do range in price. You can get stuff for about 230 if you buy the barn and the silo and everything here. It is only 45 grand, and you get a liquid fertilizer silo and a fruit silo as well as a second repair shop. I only recently learned about the second repair shop in this area here. You also can buy the cow farm, which is only 96,000. The animal fields do tend to be a little bit cheaper because they're a little bit smaller, and getting the chickens is only 4 grand. It is worth noting that you only get 100 chickens. It is the least amount of animals that you get on this farm, which means that you're not producing that many eggs over time. You can obviously buy a larger chicken pen if you so desire, but the base one that comes with it is cheap to buy, but you don't get that many. Like I said, plenty of grass areas here that you can buy and farm. It is worth noting that the grass areas and the grass fields, a lot of them are walled in, so if you're using bigger equipment, it's going to be a bit of a tough time. You're probably better off just buying field 7 later on, which isn't too expensive. It's a decent size, it's 277,000. That is fairly open, it's a nice shape, and you generally get around 26 to 30 bales from it, depending on the size of bales that you're using. So yeah, it's just a very good, well laid out map. It is a bit annoying that on field 1 you've got this sort of area here, which you can just go over when you're doing your ploughing and stuff, but I don't know why it's not just sealed off. And also with 20 and 22 there's no barrier here, so you've got to be careful when doing cultivating and things, because otherwise you can destroy the crops on the fields there. But that's the layout. It's honestly very impressive. It does have a remove junk barns or junk in barns button. I've not been there yet. I've still got all the junk around, but that can give you some scrap metal, which you can use for, again, productions that you can buy. There are 2 fields up here that you can buy, 2 plots of land, one up here on 45 and one on 39, which don't have anything on them, and they do look fairly flat. That is something that I'm going to be looking at buying next. It's 648,000, and I'm going to basically move all of the productions out of the pig field down here to put them up here. But you've got that freedom to do that, which is really good. The layout is just, it's fantastic. I am a big fan of this map. David did a really good job of this, and I do prefer this to Court Farms. Calmsden is based on a real place in the UK, which means that some of the roads can be quite tight to get around. However, it is doable, even in the larger machines like this class Exion that we're driving right now. It is going to be more advisable to drive in cab view when you're going around the areas, just because of how low hanging the trees are. However, unlike Court Farms, they're not so low hanging that you physically can't drive your bigger equipment around the map, which is kind of fundamental with how big the fields are. You're going to need that bigger equipment to be able to successfully and easily maneuver and get the fields done in good efficient time. The other advantage to Calmsden is that you can go through the hedges. They're not solid walls. If there is a solid wall, it will be a solid wall. You can't go through the trees, but you can go through the hedges. This makes it incredibly easy and much less of a stress if you've got a particularly large piece of equipment or something that is quite difficult to get around. You can just go through the hedge, through the field, to get to where you need to go, assuming you've got crop destruction off, obviously. Now, another really nice feature of this map is that when you buy the animal pens and you get the animals in the fields, they actually appear in the fields. You can phase through them, which is very useful for when I personally sit and mow and bale in those fields. But it is quite cute to drive around and see the lambs, the cows, and even the pigs just gallivanting around and enjoying themselves and having a really good time. The entire map is very, very pretty. It's very stunning to look at. The lighting is really good. The sounds are really nice. As we come down this road here, there is a church which has church bells that you hear as you go through, which just adds a nice touch of realism. As a further point, this road here specifically floods if it rains. What that means is that you have to actually go through water. There aren't water effects as such, but it's still a nice addition. It's a nice little touch to the map that allows you to just get immersed in it. It's all part of its charm. It's all part of its character. Getting to certain areas can be a bit awkward because navigation isn't the best, and much like a lot of Oxygen David's maps, he doesn't tend to note the water that well. There isn't a lot of water on the map. There isn't a huge stream. It's not like Court Farms where you are going to end up in the drink without a way to get out, but it's still nice to be able to see that and sort of work your way around it and to not get stuck. The edge of the map hits quite hard. There are certain areas where you can go where it doesn't look like it's the edge of the map. Field 12, for example, I have a load of logging that I've done and I can't get to the trees because they're sort of in limbo. They're sort of out of bounds but in bounds at the same time, so they're just kind of hanging there and there's no way that I can get to them. Maybe an extension on those barriers so you can actually get to the trees that you want to get rid of a bit easier would be quite nice. The sell points are quite plentiful and the prices do seem pretty fair. On this map, you're going to be wanting to do soybeans if you're looking to make a good profit from arable. You're going to want to buy the sheep field and get your sheep going ASAP if you want to make money from wool, obviously clothing and stuff like that. The spinnery without mods is still incredibly slow, but the amount of wool that your sheep produce, you are going to be emptying the area out very, very regularly and making a nice tidy sum from it. This map is stunningly pretty. It's easy to work. There's lots of room for you to sort of customize it in the way that you may want to. You can't actively edit the farm, but you can buy fields that are empty and put in your own yard as you go through and as you see fit. The biggest selling point to me for this farm is the fact that you do have those big fields and you can get around the map with this bigger machinery in order to make it work how you see fit. Like I say, I've spent 400 hours on this map. I've got productions going. We've got wood, we've got furniture, we've got a spinnery, we've got 3 greenhouses. The thing that I'm working towards now is buying a bigger field that's level because the pig farm really isn't, and it's probably not the best place to have all your production lines anyway, just to make it easier for me to store everything. As we come here, you'll see this is the farmyard that I've got, which gives you a silo, it gives you a big garage, it gives you a shelter as well on the front and the back, and it also gives you the repair shop, which I didn't know existed until very recently. It's just a very well thought out, very well placed map with everything that you could ever dream of. If you get the chance to try Calmsden Farm, I would highly recommend it. It is such a good map that is so very pretty and very well thought out. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know if you played Calmsden yourself, and I will see you all in the next video. Ciao, ciao.